Okay, so welcome to my new video of the kals Micro Company prototype. And right now I am completed the extruder for the plastic extrusion and for recycling. Right now, this is a prototype right now to actually see if everything else is working okay. Until then, in the future, we will have a functional injection molding. Right now, I'm just testing out the equipment and the electronics to see if everything else is functioning. And after that, if it does work, I can use this process again in the future with another extruder. But right now, we're just looking at the principles of how it works and how it functions right away. So this project was done since 2019 during a capstone project. Basically, it was like a side project I was trying to do for a small business I was trying to get to right away. Right now, I was trying to do both projects, which is the shredder and the plastic extruder. But at the time, I didn't have time to actually get to that because I was focusing toward educational, and I did graduate with my bachelor's degree with the industrial engineering. But as of right now, since last year of 2021, I began to pick up this project again and see how it all began to function. I was trying to look online for the electronics diagram, how the extruder works, and how it's being put together. That's one of the big issues that I was running into right now. The big issue was the heating element that was very difficult for me to understand. They have no instructions online. There was no manual that came with it. There was a manual, but again, it didn't actually really say which wires go to which and how it's being explained right away. Right now, I had to like look online to see if it was a comparison, contrast, um, and after that, trying to figure out where the wires goes and how it's being put together right away. It did took a while right now for over a year. Right now, I completed it right away until 2022 of February. Begin to actually go back to electronics, do it again one more time to actually go back and forth until then I found one that someone actually did explain it very well in detail that it was straightforward. That was it. I managed to connect all of it. Um, it was working okay until then I ran into this problem right here. So as you can see here on the image right now, um, it was the heating element, the thermal expansion board, and then the SSN. I think it was a soluble solenoid or SSR relay. Yeah. Solenoid something relay. Still learning the English, the electrical terms for that one. And after that, it's connected to the heating element right away. And now that everything's working okay, everything's worked fine, all the wires working okay. Until then, I ran into the issue that it was not heating up. The temperature sensor did work okay. The temperature was about 263, and the constant of the temperature was around 79 degrees. That was it. It was around 80 degrees. And that's the room temperature that I have done it before, and it was not really doing anything else. It was at the steady pace where it should be. I don't know what to do next afterwards, and after that, I had to go back to script onto the drawing board to see why the heating element was not really heating up at the temperature I wanted. So after when I went online to check more again to see why my heating element was not working on this SSR, it turns out it was not explained as it's supposed to be on the other previous instructions that the community was explaining it. But there was a video that did explain to the final result of the heating element that you're not supposed to connect the heating elements from those two wires. That it's not the same thing as connecting to a positive to negative. One goes to a negative, but one connects to a positive, and the SSR connects to the positive again. So it's basically a onto the electronical board, that black board for the heating relay. That one connects to the positive. That's true, but the positive line connects to the SSR only. That's it, which has a constant wave symbol, which is number. Well, actually, I'll look into the numbers later on. But again, the principle is the same thing. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 has positive and negative with the power source up to 36 volts. While the other one, the 3 and 4, it has a constant symbol, meaning that it's very alternate current or direct current. I don't remember which one was it, but again, those two go up to about the 220 volts or higher. That's the ones that has to be connected to the live ground wire. So what happened was that it did explain that the live wire that connected to the heating box is supposed to connect to the number 4, the constant wave, and then number 3 that one connects to the heating element. So that way it'll have a continuous power onto it, but again the SSR is the controlling heating element. So that was the one that he explained it very well, and I really got confused onto it right away. So right now, as you can see on the video, I got it working okay, alright, and that's that. Don't mind the video in the background, but right now, I will fix the audio. But again, as you can see right now, I am pouring in the 2 different type of copper pipes. One is cold, and I pour in some cold water onto it, but then the second pipe is now hot and is heating up very constant heat that I want, and it really is hot. I didn't want to touch it. It was amazing. I finally got it working okay, and it's working all right. It's heating up everything else from the nozzle to the pipe system. It was great. Um, I did more demonstration like how the water is. Did more one with the straw to actually get the water. Pour in the copper again to actually have it run down with the wire. The copper again. It does cool off, but with the heating element, it began to heat up the water very well to create steam. So that was a good success on my side. So after that, I began to actually do the temperature sensor too as well, and that way it began to heat up very well. So right now, there's a second element that I did bought right away. I don't have the relay kit right now, so I had to order that one right away to actually do the second heating element so that right away, so that way it'll be a constant heat along the pipe. So as of right now, the reason why this thing needs to be multiple heating elements on this any type of metal that has to be heated up, it has to be entire surface, and you need more heating elements. The reason for that is because it's a chain reaction that when you heat up the elements, one element will actually heat up right away at that specific area, but depends on how many square inches it has to heat up right away. So the same thing as the other one too as well with the heating number 2. Once the first heating element begins to heat up at the certain temperature, and if it begins to expand in the inch areas of the how far it has to heat up, the second one will take its place again, or connect the chain reaction again for it to heat up. But this time a little more hotter temperature, so that way it'll be constant right away to actually heat up the material. Now after that, once I got those electronics ready to go, everything else is confirmed, I begin to weld right away. So let's begin to weld. Until then, we hit a little snag from here. From so as of right now, what happened was the plastic did not extrude as expected. I began to increase the temperature every now and then, and no matter how hard I tried to um, compress it downward onto the injection mold, no plastic could not come out. The plastic I'm using right now is a number two plastic that comes with the melt jugs and the water bottle jugs. That's that one, the whitish colorish clear material. Um, it didn't actually extrude as it expected to be. I tried increasing the temperature a little more after this, and after that, still nothing else. As you can see from the heating element, it begin to discolor itself from the color to turning red. After I had to increase another temperature again, that's able to change a little more colors right away. So I took a little break, and after I had to increase the temperature. So as you can see right now, it began to become red hot. And after that, from the copper, you guys see some smoke, some fumes that's coming out right away. So that means it's like heating up the plastic right away. And after the heating element began to heat up right now. And after that, when this began to completely heat up the right temperature, the mold did came out. I had to remove the nozzle down below, as you see from the previous video. Um, the nozzle pipe or the nozzle did not actually do what it's supposed to be doing right away, and that it was not as expected. It did not came out as I expected to be. So right now, it did. I had to like remove the nozzle again. That way, it'll be like entirely um, fully open. That's it. So this is the entire diameter. That's about 1 inch diameter right now, and that's the number two plastic that was melted right away. I was gonna grab it and then pull it out, but it was extremely hot, so I used the pliers to actually try to pull it out. But then turns out it was malleable, or it was like squishy enough to actually like not get a good grip. So I had to wait for it over time to actually like cool down a little more. And after that, I had to remove it, and after that, it began to like came out as I expected to be. So right now, everything else came out okay, but again, nothing, or actually, it didn't come out as I expected to be. But the good news was that it did heat up enough to actually begin to melt together, so that way there's no layers that's being added into it. So from the end of the the plastic extruder part, there was some layers before that, but again, in between the middle, it was formed right away. It was fused good. I was looking for that material right away. That was a right on dot. So the next approach is to look for more heating elements to actually add onto this copper pipe. Maybe I had to add in like two because I already got one. I had to get an extra kit, but I think I had to get another one again so that way it'll heat up again. There'll be a constant temperature because again, the copper pipe when it goes upward, it still cools at the top and it kind of like heat up when I touched it. The touching about when I touched it is around 70 to 80 degrees, so it wasn't that warm enough. But down below, it was hot enough to actually melt the plastic, and it'll begin to fuse one another, like you've seen the example right here in this video. So right now, the next approach is to actually get more of these elements. It is very costly, yes, but again, it will be worth it along the way. Hopefully you guys find this entertaining right now. If you have any questions or any comments about this heating element that I bought, message me on the comments down below, and that way I'll answer the questions. And after, I will do a diagram on a separate video for you personally. So hopefully you enjoy this. Have a good day, and goodbye.